Um, Welcome, happy Thursday, or Friday Eve is what I really like to think of it as. Welcome to our last CIOST Reimagined conversations on reopening and returning to learn. We still have a few people joining us, so as they're kind of joining in, we'll go over just a couple things of housekeeping, and then we will kick it off, and hopefully we'll have some really good conversations and some key takeaways to report back later. So before we get started, if you are just joining us, go ahead in the chat box, drop in your name, what organization you're from, and then finish the sentence, "I am excited about." While you do that, we're going to go through introductions and then do a couple housekeeping things. So I can go ahead and start. My name is Mallory Reesberg. I'm one of the 3 out-of-school time enrichment coaches. And I'll turn it over to, I'm going to be kind of the behind-the-scenes person today. So if you have any questions or issues, you can chat me in the chat box. And then I'll come back in a little bit when we do our breakout sessions. But I'm going to turn it over to Dow, and then he'll pass it over to Teresa.
Good afternoon, good morning, everybody. I think everyone is in the afternoon now. I hope you're all doing well with COVID. My name is Dow Jock. I'm one of the coaches, and I'm in the business of people. And so I'm here for you all today, and we're excited to have you. Like Teresa said, if you need to reach out, text, chat, if you want to message me individually, that's fine as well. Excited to have you. Thank you for your time as well. And now I'll hand it over to our MC for the day, hostess, Miss Teresa.
Well, thank you, Dow. My name is Teresa Slatter, and I'm the 3rd enrichment coach that we have. I'm also going to let others on our team introduce themselves. We have Emily with us, and we have Crystal with us. Go ahead, either one of you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Crystal Hall. I'm with the Iowa Afterschool Alliance, and we provide support to this wonderful coaching team that you see in front of you. So thank you, and we hope that you enjoy the discussion today.
Hey, everyone. This is Emily Harris. I'm also with Crystal at the Iowa Afterschool Alliance, and it's been a pleasure to support this team.
All right, so just doing a little bit of housekeeping. We want to encourage you to engage however you feel comfortable. We have a few minutes before we'll do the breakout session where if you have any questions or anything, go ahead and type them in, or comments, type them in the chat box. We encourage you to turn your camera on if you feel comfortable, use the chat box. I'm not sure if we have any polls or annotations in here, but we're hoping you're going to have a lot of discussion, good discussions later. To make this a little more personal and so that we can have an accurate record so that we can make sure we get you your credit, go ahead and change your name in the system. If you don't know how to do that, if you hover over your picture in the top right hand corner, there should be 3 dots that you can click on, and then click on the button that says rename, and go ahead and put your first and last name in there. If you need to step away, we definitely understand. Go ahead and make sure that your your microphone is muted and that your video is off. We don't need any accidental toilet flushes, or I was in a meeting yesterday where a teenage son didn't realize that there was a meeting going on and walked through the background in just his boxers. So go ahead and, turn that video off and the sound off if you need to. And then also definitely utilize the chat box. You can send it privately to the co-host or host if you have any questions about things, or if you want to pose something to the whole group or share with the whole group, go ahead and do that. Just as a reminder, at the end of today, we will send out the survey link for you to fill out about the session. In that link, we'll have all of the questions and information needed. If you need a DHS certificate, we'll probably get those out to you mid next week. Things are moving just a tad slow, so we ask that you're just patient with us, but we will definitely get those to you. But if you have any other questions, feel free to type them in the chat box. And I hope that we have some great conversation for you today.
Okay. I'm sorry, have a little technical difficulty there. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yep. So just a quick Zoom overview. I'm sure we are all Zoom experts by now, but just in case you need a refresher, the audio video button is on that bottom left-hand corner. Moving over to the right, you'll see the chat button that allows you to chat either with the whole group, or you can select individuals to chat to. And then the message shows up either on the side screen, or you might have it set up in a pop-out button. If you have any other Zoom related questions, feel free to chat me. I've become quite an expert at it. Otherwise, we will turn it on over for the actual topic of the day.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm just quickly going through our objectives today. We're going to share and discuss some return learn plans for the OST program. We're also going to kind of just look briefly at the side of what the schools are doing as well, their options that they have. And then towards the end, we would like to communicate with you the importance of coordinating with your district when you're setting up your plans to help stop the spread of COVID. And you'll see when we do our infographic how that works. And then, of course, we have our resource spotlight. Now jumping into the return to learn plans that the school districts, their options that they had. So the first option they had was in person. If we were able to get back to business as usual, everybody's 100% in the schools, of course, utilizing those CDC guidelines. And then the other option they had was virtual. A lot of schools kind of did this at the beginning, that 100% virtual, where all learning was online through different platforms, different mediums. And it kind of looked different if you were looking at their plans, what it would look like in elementary, middle, and high school. Then, of course, we had the governor come through and say, well, you're going to have to do some in-person. So then schools started to look at that hybrid model, that hybrid option of doing in-person and virtual. And the way that was it was set up was you have AB days, or you have like a cohort or groups, however they put that. It was different from elementary, middle, and high school. So, and I'll give you an example. So in the elementary, some districts did the K through 8th grade, which was like if group A was in school, group B was doing online, and that would be Monday, Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, everybody would have that online learning. And then on Thursday, Friday, they would just flip around. So then it would be group B in school, and then there would have group A doing their online learning. And like I said, different districts are doing different things. So we were just wanted to encourage you to look through the districts that you are in and see what they decided to do. Because with that, that'll also help you complement the school day, as well as make some adjustments to what your program would look like. So moving on to what the OST program will look like. So there's a couple of different options that are here, and there could be more options. The first option is virtual. So are you planning on doing just virtual engagement only? That's what you're planning on doing? Then I'm actually going to jump down to the on-site, which is actually, or in person. Are you going to conduct before and after school as usual, as though we're not in COVID, as though this was just, an ordinary year that we have business? And then looking at the hybrid model, and this is some of the things that working with some of my sites, this is where some of the sites are at. So you have hybrid A, which that means you're serving youth all day long. So that may mean that you have youth from 7 o'clock in the morning to 6 at night. And you're helping them with their virtual learning. You're at a capacity where you can provide academic guidance during that time that they would have their online learning. Or do you have hybrid B, which are serving youth before and after school? So just to kind of give you an example of this one, this would be like back to that group A and B. So if you have group A is in school, you're only serving that group before and after school. And then you're doing your program during the time that they would be there. When group B comes through.
Did I freeze?
No, it's
No.
Teresa.
Oh, okay.
I think we lost Teresa, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Dow or Mallory, can one of you maybe pick up until she gets a more steady connection established here?
Yeah, Dow, do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, basically what she was getting at is many different organizations are responding to COVID differently, and these are the different avenues that the school systems and the programs are taking, and for us that will inform our discussion. So let me pull up the slide deck real quick.
Sorry, guys. Technology is great when it works. So.
Yeah, thank you for your patience. Okay. And I will go to present. We already covered all of that. Yeah, so the different models, the schools and the programs are doing. The reason why we wanted to bring that up is we wanted to contextualize our discussion today, our professional development, because not everyone is doing the same thing, and because of that, we wanted to make sure that we put people in groups of like similar policies or things that you're doing with your organization. That way, the dialogue can be a little bit more relevant to you, and you get something out of it. Again, for us, our goal is for you all to share some of the things you're doing with your organization so that we can learn from each other, because the knowledge in here is quite a bit. So with that, these are some of the questions that we're going to break into the groups of the various types of models that exist right now, namely in-person, virtual, and hybrid. And so some of these questions, and we'll have a coach with each group, Mallory, break that down. The biggest thing here, we want you to consider some of these questions. And the reason why is we have to be a little bit more intentional with what we're doing, given what's going on now. Because this is a time unlike any we have seen. Resources are scarce. There's a lot of confusion, a lot of different things. So we want intentionality. And so these questions are directed or hopefully will shape your conversation to force you to be a little bit more intentional, okay? And so with that, and again, these questions that you will consider and talk about in the small groups, the biggest things, think about, number one, what's the so what? What's the relevance for my organization, okay? Number two, how can I take this and apply it? That's really what we're really getting at, okay? So these are some of the questions that you will talk about in your groups, and some instructions for the breakouts. Again, like I said, there's 3 different meeting groups, and the 4th one will be the main room. The 3 different virtual rooms will be virtual, hybrid, and on-site. So for you, if your organization or your program is doing virtual, or is doing a hybrid, or is doing on-site, just rename. Wait, we want them to rename?
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'll jump in here. So normally when we do breakout sessions, we just divide you up and send you randomly to a group. But today we wanted to give you the option of getting with some other participants that are maybe in the same boat as you, looking at what the fall programming might look like. So we want you to choose which breakout room you're going to. So breakout room number 1 will be talking about an all virtual out of school time program. So you're trying to engage only virtually. Room 2 is talking about a hybrid. So if you are dealing with some schools that you're having hybrid, where maybe you're serving kids that will have to be doing their virtual learning through the day, you can choose room number 2. Or 3, if you're doing on-site, the schools are back to normal, you're just doing your normal before and after school, you can choose room 3. Otherwise, if you have any other lingering questions or thoughts or something to talk about, you can stay in the main room. So to help with that, we're going to have you rename your names in here so that I can look and divide you up into the breakout rooms. So if you haven't already, oh, can you go? There we go. If you haven't already, go ahead and hover over your picture. And in the top right corner, there's 3 dots that you can click on and click rename. Go ahead and when you rename yourself, choose either room 1, 2, 3 or M for main room and put that at the very beginning of your name. And then that way we will be able to easily divide you up into the correct room.
And a lot of you have already renamed yourselves, so just add the number ahead of your name, okay? That's the confusion there. So just add the number before your name, because we already asked you to rename yourself. So if you could please do that now, and then Mallory will break us into groups.
Yep. All right, I see a lot of people are starting, so this is great. If you're having trouble renaming yourself, we can always do the handy, just put it in the chat box. It will take me just a little bit of time to sort through all of that. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and start opening all the rooms so that you can go in and start having those conversations. Before I send you off, I have dropped a file into the chat box for you that it has the list of all of the questions for you to consider in your discussion, and it is in a Word doc, so if you want to take notes in it, you can. Otherwise, you can just use that for the discussion. So I dropped that in there again, and I'm going to open the rooms up. If you have any questions, use the chat box, there's a help wanted sign or hand in the breakout rooms, and then we will see you in about 15 to 20 minutes.
All right, I think Mallory, somebody raised their hand.
Oh, yes. Chromebook 5535. So I'm going to go ahead and open the rooms for all the ones I've assigned already, and then we can keep going. Let's see, assign
3. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I had typed a question. I did not put my name. And again, I wanted to know what will happen in the main room discussion, or such open discussion.
It's just an open discussion.
People
so
just get in there.
It's just whatever.
Okay.
If there's a topic that you have.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. Sorry, and I'm going through everyone's now that's put it in the chat box. If you want to go ahead, let's see. If you want to unmute yourself and go ahead and tell me like one by one, that would be fantastic. Oh, I see Beverly. Jane, which one are you? So everyone that's here, do you want to be in the main room, or are you waiting to be sent to another room? Emily, I tried to send you to a different room. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
See, Alex, you give me a thumbs up. Oh, someone's name is on site, so that makes it easy. Thank you. Susan, Erlinda, Jane, Gretchen, Susie.
Can you hear Susan Borchers?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. I'm having to do computer and phone still.
Oh, okay. What room did you want to be sent to?
The main one.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Oh, Natalie, let me get you there. There you go. Let's see, Jane, Gretchen, or Susie, do you have a preference? Or Linda?
This is Gretchen Stanger. I'm good in the main room.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, so if you're in the main room, do you have anything that you want to chat about that was on your mind?
Not really. I don't in particular. We have kind of a combination of sites because we're from the Y of Greater Des Moines. So we're kind of covering Waukee sites, which are in person, and then also Des Moines sites, which are virtual. So I didn't feel that we really categorized into one particular one. So we could definitely go into one of those, but
yeah,
I was hoping that maybe these kind of fit into more all of the above.
Whichever works. I was looking at, it looks like Heather Jackson is in room 3. So I can send you to room 1, that's the all virtual. So then you're kind of dividing and conquering.
Yeah, that would be fine.
All right, let me do that. Oh, Jane, I just saw your message. Getting you there. See, Alex, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Thank you for inviting me to join you today.
Yeah, of course. Glad you could make it. Oh, hi, Amy. Can you hear me? Oh, almost. Hi, Amy. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I was trying to switch from my phone over to the computer. Is there a way that I can get the breakout session again?
Yep. Which one were you in?
The hybrid.
Yep. I'm sending you there.
Thank you.
Welcome. Let's see. So Susan, you said you wanted to be in this room. Remind me what organization you're from?
Are you talking about the main room to Susan Borchers?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just the in-home provider.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to get some feedback on how to make it safe for the children that are enrolled in my program who have siblings that are going to be in the school 100% back.
Yeah,
and
I'm going to actually send you to one of the rooms because I think you could benefit definitely from some of the conversations. There's a few people I know that are in your same situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still just having trouble because I've got the phone and the computer. I can't I'm afraid if I switch back, I'm gonna get dropped.
Are you Susie Cairns Dunn?
No,
Oh, okay.
Susan Borchard.
Okay. That's what I thought. Well, I've gotten the phone and you merged together, so I'm gonna send you to
So do I need to hang up the phone then eventually?
Nope, you're good. You're good. You just
Okay.
keep doing
I was saying, I'm afraid I'm gonna lose the
Nope,
ability
you're
to
good.
chat. I'm here.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna send you to one of the rooms that I think could be very beneficial to you.
Okay.
Well, our room has dwindled so much now that I wonder if maybe I should be in one of the other rooms just to listen in.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have a preference on where you go?
You want to send me to the hybrid room?
Yep.
Excellent.
On your way.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We're back already.
Nicely done, Amber. We're back.
I guessed.
Hey, so we can continue the conversation until everybody comes back in, if you're all okay. Mallory, is everyone coming back soon, or we early?
I think you guys are early.
Okay, we'll talk. We'll talk here. We'll
Yeah,
talk
I
here.
can send you back to your room if you want.
No, we'll stay here.
Okay, you can stay here.
Yeah, we'll stay
I'm
here.
gonna hop into room 2 just to see how it's going. Room 3 was having some great discussions.
Yep.
You guys were having some great discussions, so carry on.
Awesome.
This room has better lighting, so we're just gonna stay.
We missed you. Where's your hat?
So team, can we get some voices, maybe that haven't spoken yet? What is going on with your organization in terms of thinking about what you're doing in virtual, some of the challenges and how you might be mitigating them? I really don't like picking on people because we're all, grown-ups. Anyone? Jeff, Amber, Miss Beverly, Linda?
Sorry, this is Susan Borchers, and I just got switched back to this room because I think this is more appropriate for where I need to be.
Okay. Welcome.
So thank you. I had gotten switched to 3, but I don't think that one was the right room. So she had me switch back. So sorry,
Okay.
I got kind of lost.
So can you tell us about your program, Miss Susan?
Sure. I'm an in-home provider.
Okay.
I do not have school age. I don't think there's a possibility that I will have school age. But my concern was I was hoping to get some insight on what happens with the younger siblings who are in my care, with their older siblings going 100% back to school, and how that affects my in-home daycare.
Yep.
If there'd be positive cases.
Yep. Anyone want to?
Sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. Yeah. Anyone want to take a jab at it?
I feel horrible for your situation because I don't think there's ever a solid answer or response or solution. I mean, my wife and we have an at-risk son, and my mother-in-law watches our son for daycare, so who's turning 1, as I mentioned. And the biggest issue there is now with my 10-year-old going back to school, what is she bringing home? And what is she bringing home to grandma? And is she going to be responsible for grandma? I mean, grandma's a stage 4 cancer survivor. Grandma gets it. Grandma's not going to do so well. And so it's really now we're starting to implement, once she goes back to school, she's going to have to wear a mask around grandma. And we're going to do what we can. We can't keep her from grandma, but we're going to do what we can to keep that. And I think there's just no other answer when students are going back to school into the giant petri dish of how that's gonna work with those younger students that might, exactly to your point, get it and bring it to your area. Unless, I don't. The only solution I'd have is doing what you can of the distancing when the students are there.
Right. Yes. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, so Susan, I think one of the challenges is no one knows the answers, right?
Right.
Because you cannot control everything, especially when you have kids of different ages. You cannot control the conditions they go to school at. You cannot control those, and so it's the unknown variables. And right now, I think one of those things, one of the challenges is people will need to have discussions and dialogue around what does it mean to raise kids in today's age, right? So the interactions, social interactions, will those have to be controlled? What does that look like? Because unless we're really doing our best to be mindful and be intentional about it, you just don't know. And the sad thing is, one outbreak, somebody didn't do their job and there's an outbreak, it has a domino effect on the whole scale. And I don't think anyone has answers right now. Yeah.
Are you already open, Susan? Are you already have students there?
Yeah.
See, and the reality is, whether school's open or not, you have no idea what those other families are doing. I mean, I have friends that think this is all a joke, that this is all political, and that there's no virus. And so they're living their lives the way they always have, and they're not taking anything seriously. And there's others that their life is in lockdown. And so you might have some students there already, or not students, but some youth there already that come from families that think this is a giant joke and may already have it or already been passing it. So, I mean, whether school's open or not, I think your situation is always going to be that challenge.
I agree, Jeff. Thank you. Because it is. I have to have total 100% trust that my family is here. I have not been closed down since the beginning. And I have put total trust in that my families are following all safety, protocols that are in place. But this is bringing on a whole new variable because their older siblings are going to be going to school.
Susan, and it's for everyone else, Ms. Beverly, you can talk on this as well. Do you all have steps laid out on what happens if there is a case and, or if there's a report of this, there's a protocol you follow? And how are you communicating that to the parents, and what are the expectations from you and as well as from the families?
Yeah, I have that in place. But I just wondered how the state and the CDC are going to help us. I don't really know how to explain, just because the situation is going to be changing with the siblings going back to school. But I do have a plan in place, which would just be, if there's a case, they're unable to attend.
Yep. Yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge, a huge challenge.
It is. Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely.
So, Mallory, is that everyone back, or still some people out there? Wonderland.
Almost everyone. There's still a few people that are having a conversation in room 3, so we have about 7 seconds.
Okay.
All right, that should be everyone back in.
Okay. Well, team, from what Mallory was saying, was that different groups, some groups have a little bit lighter sun in your room, so we had better conversations. But thank you for the dialogues that you have had. If we could somebody from room 1 kind of give us an abbreviated discussion. What are some of the key takeaways from your discussion, 2 or 3 or so? Room 1, Amber, or who?
Sure. I can just kind of highlight on behalf of Community Youth Concepts. We know that we're going to do things virtually throughout at least probably the first semester. Right now, we're kind of still in waiting game because people at the schools, we're in a bunch of different districts. So the people at the schools, they're still trying to figure out their things before they can tell us how we're going to move forward. And yeah, we are just a little concerned kind of what participation is going to look like, or recruiting, just because that's going to be so much different than normal. But we are prepared to rock and roll virtual.
Anyone else from room 1? Anything to add? Okay. How about room 2? No volunteers?
We had a pretty good discussion, but I'll let those folks in that room talk instead of me.
Can you call somebody out then that can help us?
Jane, if she doesn't mind, Jane Bishop. Or Amy Murphy.
What are you up to?
We were discussing the hybrid plans for going back to school and what each of our different organizations look like. Ours is just going to be starting up, and we're going to be trying to have a computer for each child to be able to do the virtual schooling and be able to help them with that. With that, I'm going to also try to get a hold of the teachers of the classrooms, so that way I can kind of see what their schedule is going to be for each of the individual kids, and then I can post it next to the children, so that way we can try to help facilitate their day, and then also include some extra reading and math and history lessons, as well as getting them outside for recess and physical activity. So just kind of all of those different kind of models. We were also looking at in-home environments versus center environments, and just different ideas.
Okay. Anything else from that group 2 or room 2?
I think just keeping in mind that we're going to have to be flexible and make fluid decisions.
Yep. Absolutely. How about room 3?
Yeah, so our room had a really nice mix of in-home providers and site providers. So I don't know if maybe Sabrina or Christina and Katie want to talk about a couple of takeaways from the organizational viewpoint. Sabrina was having troubles, I know. So Christina or Katie from Club, is there anything that you'd chime in with?
Hi, yeah, we were just talking about like our ratios and how we plan on moving forward. For Boys and Girls Club, we're going to be open from 7:30 to 6. We're going to be from 8 to 2:30 or 3. We're going to be helping our kids with their virtual learning online. And then we're going to run after school program per usual, but we're going to have 9 kids per group. That way we can keep them separated if there was an exposure.
Oh, I think we lost audio. Yeah, so again, just to quickly summarize, so the people who are with a community-based organization, they talked a lot about the approach that they're going to be taking. For example, Sabrina with CFM is having an all-day program where the kids will be able to bring their devices in and receive some of the academic support. And then Boys and Girls Club talked a lot about the safety protocols that they're putting in place regarding, making sure sites are clean. They also talked about keeping groups of kids together, which I know we'll be discussing very soon. And then Megan Keat, I'm wondering if maybe you wouldn't want to talk about some of the takeaways regarding in-home providers, since you had some really good ideas for that.
Well, my main thing is just keeping it as normal as possible for your kids. With the school agers, just have them be at the table doing their schoolwork. And then, for the school agers, you're pretty much there just to make sure they have a safe place to do their schoolwork and to help them as best as you can, and just keep things consistent, normal.
Yeah, thank you for that. The last thing that I would say is Rachel, and Rachel, I'm trying to remember, you're with the Y, is that what you said up in Cedar Falls? Rachel Scott?
YWCA in Waterloo.
In Waterloo, yes. Do you want to talk about a couple of the concerns that you brought up, just so that we can have some larger brainstorming today?
Yes, we've been, as an agency, have been working on our protocols all summer long in collaboration with the 3 school districts that we serve.
I feel really good about the preventative pieces and the safety protocols we have in place. What we're struggling with right now is finding activities to keep these kids engaged and thinking and connected, where they're not really connected. They're 6 feet apart. They can't play a game together. They can't shoot baskets together. So we are struggling on that end right now on what activities. We've got them safe. Now what can we do with them?
Yeah, thank you for that. So back to you, Dow. That was the summary of group 3.
Thank you. So I think if there's any takeaway, is that, look, we're an unprecedented time, and no one has the answers. No one person has the answers. Whether you do it virtually, hybrid, or on site, there are many innate challenges, right? If you go virtual, does your school district or organization have the resources to support that and set the conditions for that to be successful? If you do a hybrid, one of the concerns that came up in our discussion was, if you have a kid that has siblings and their siblings are in school and they come back, and how do you keep those people safe, the families safe? You don't know what your families are doing out there. Some are taking it serious, some are not. And all of that, I think, comes down to this, right? If there's nothing else for me, here's what I would submit to you. I think each of you as leaders, you have to become a strategist. And what I mean by that, so the word strategist come from Greek, means strategos, meaning the general of an army, right? What I'm getting at is this. What we're going through right now is a crucible. And by definition, a crucible, it forces us to change how we adapt. And so we have to become adaptable. We are forced to look at these from a different perspective. And so for the reason it's important to have these discussions and see what other people are doing, it's not that you're going to find the perfect answers, but it's to have as much data and as much information as possible to be able to, one, plan accordingly and try to minimize, right, as much as you can, the risk to you and your staff, to the kids, right, and to the families. But at the end of the day, no one has the answers. And as we sit here, I would submit, and all the coaches I think would agree with me, is that we need to have more dialogue so that we know what other people are doing, so that we can share ideas and attack this together. Our network is stronger if we share ideas. And so if you can, reach out to somebody and ask them, hey, how are you thinking about this? How are you going about it? Because at the end of the day, planning becomes even more crucial. And if you can plan all you want and you can execute really well, but if somebody else doesn't do their job or plan accordingly or mitigate the risk, you're in trouble, right? And so it's difficult, it's challenging, but I would say, don't forget you're a strategist. Your job now is to come up with solutions to unknown. And that's a beautiful thing because it's a good challenge. And so as educators, we love learning. So as much as you can, learn about yourself, learn about your staff, learn about the kids, learn about the disease itself, and try to strategize. But at the end of the day, you will not be able to mitigate the risk to zero. It's just not possible. And whatever you do, we appreciate, the three of us appreciate all that you do for our communities, for the kids and families. And you take care of yourselves too. Don't forget that you're a part of the equation, because if you're not okay, it doesn't matter, right? It goes out the window. So I will turn it back over to Teresa. She's back online. But thank you for the discussions in the breakout rooms.
Go ahead down to the next slide. Okay, and we're gonna just kind of go through our resource spotlight that we wanted to share with you all. It's an infographic from Iowa Afterschool Alliance that they had put together. And it's really about, like you said, coordinating with the schools, communicating with schools, and how to stop the spread of COVID. So if you look at option number 1, that's really saying we have no coordination whatsoever. Everybody's just doing their own thing. We're not communicating with each other. We're not in line with each other. So then if you look at day 1 and then day 2, we're gonna spread. the COVID's going to even spread probably even faster. Option number 2 is if we're coordinating together, if we're having that conversation with the schools of how they're doing those groups, and then how do we do our groups? How are we coordinating that? How are we bringing kids from school into our program so that we are decreasing that spread? How is that going to look as well? Some of you have already done that or have already practiced that in your summer program when you had your groups. So you had your groups, you had maybe a couple of staff assigned to that group, and then that's it. You didn't interact or you didn't intermingle with other groups in your facility so that you were not spreading COVID. So really what this comes down to is having those conversations again and communicating with your schools, also communicating with your parents, having that conversation with parents. This can go hand in hand with parents as well. Does not necessarily have to equate to the schools. So just, I'm gonna kind of be quiet for about 30 seconds. Don't go anywhere now so people can kind of look at that, kind of get a feel. This is also on the Iowa After School website. We'll drop that link in the chat box as well. But I'll just be quiet so you kind of look through and see how that flows. And I do want to say, I'm sure if there's any questions about this, that you can reach out to the Iowa After School Alliance. Is that correct, Chris? Okay, I see Crystal nodding her head. Yes, that you can if you have any questions. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. We're here to help answer questions. And in fact, if anybody has a question right now, I'm happy to take a stab at that. But you can always reach out to us through the website as well.
Mm-hmm. All right, Dow, you can go to the next one, please. Now it's your turn. We do this at the end of all of our sessions. If you have a resource that you would like to share, it could be a link to a website, it could be a trick or a tip, it could be a book, anything that you want to share with the rest of the group, go ahead and put that in the chat box. And then we will look through the chat box and put that together and send that information out in our follow-up email that goes out on Friday. Also, there's a reminder, when you get that post-session survey, make sure that you fill that out. And if you want to receive DHS credit, you make sure that you put that in there. Okay, go ahead to the last one down. And we want to thank you for coming today. Thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure of having everyone here today. If you have any questions, if you have any DHS credit questions, you can contact Brittany. Any type of CIOST logistics, you can contact Crystal. You can also contact her too if you have anything with Iowa After School Alliance. She can help you in that. You can contact any of us coaches if you have any questions. I do want to say that it was a pleasure in working with everyone and having everyone attend our sessions. And just so that you know, we are done at the end of September. Crystal, did you want to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in again and say that, again, we appreciate everybody's support of these CIOST Reimagines. We hope that you are finding them helpful. And then just to kind of reiterate again what Dow and Teresa have both shared today. So the Out of School Time Initiative, the OST initiative, which is how Mallory, Dow, and Teresa are employed and able to provide support to groups and organizations like yours, found out a few weeks ago that our funding will be ending. You know, we know that COVID has had a global reach to it, and unfortunately, it's it's a negative reach. And we know that this is also starting to impact us locally here as well. So we were informed by United Way a few weeks ago that our program will be ending September 30th. So I want to publicly thank the coaches for their time on this project. Again, we hope that you find these valuable. Our coaches are professionals and they take pride in their work. And I think that shows in our presentations and discussions that you have been able to participate in. So we want to thank them for their time. If you have any questions or concerns about that as well, you can also reach out to me regarding that situation. But just know that in the meantime, we are here if you have any questions or situations that you want to run past us, because we're committed to making sure that your out-of-school time program is in the best possible shape that it can be as you enter back into what will hopefully become a normal situation for working with youth again. So thank you.
Mallory, anything?
So we, again, like to thank you all. And that concludes our session for today. Good luck, everyone.
Keep pushing.
Yep.
Good luck.
Good
Thank you for all
luck.
you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. You did a
Thank you,
great
girls.
job.
Thank you.
We'll miss